Hello, this is Witch's Hex, and I am here with New Game Plus in Fire Emblem Warriors for the Nintendo Switch. This is one of the Nintendo Warrior games, much like Hyrule Warriors, but with a few twists for, a more Fire Emblem style that I actually think feed into a speedrun in very interesting ways. So, this first mission is, fairly simple. We fly in, we stomp the baddie, and the mission ends. So, this monster, here's a little fun fact. That monster won't die until that line of Darius's comes up, so you actually can wail on the monster all you want, but nothing will happen. So, just a quick note about what this run is going to look like. Most of what we're doing here, there is optimal movement. There is killing enemies as fast as possible. But a lot of what we do here is going to revolve around manipulating lines of dialogue into the fastest way possible. As we like to call it for this game, we call it stacking the dialogue queue. We like to stack it in our favor. We like to open it in such ways that lets us do more events more quickly, eliminates lines entirely, and lets us get into the places we want to get into as soon as possible. A quick note about our character choices here. So this run will actually involve 4 playable characters, as Fire Emblem Warriors actually lets you quick switch between 4 characters, which lets you, gives you a lot of options for some of these stages. But for these first few, we only have Camilla. You can actually make it whichever character you want. On the roster, there's a good number of characters in the roster, but the 4 we want to use are Camilla, Minerva, Lyn, and Navarre. And the reason we want to use them is pretty simple. Lyn and Minerva Camilla and Minerva are our flying units. The flying units, they're complete. Minerva was added in the most recent DLC, and she is a complete clone of Camilla. Camilla, and therefore Minerva, has the best moveset for a flying unit in the game. And flying units are very useful because they can move faster than other units, as is visibly apparent. That's not always what we want. Sometimes we want to be able to do, because Lyn and Navarre, our other 2 characters, are the, 2 best characters for their moveset. They can chew through enemies much faster than anyone else. They are also clones of each other. Navarre was added also in the most recent DLC, a clone of Lyn. It's actually very nice for the speedrun, especially for co-op categories, which unfortunately were also ruined by the new DLC, as, the performance issues stopped enemies from spawning and completely ruined the entire category. It's no longer really runnable. But allegedly, if we can ever figure out a way to get around those, they'll be super interesting for a co-op speedrun. I actually run this co-op with Proto Magical Girl. We routed New Game Plus as co-op. It was a lot of fun. It's a bit of a shame what happened to it, but these kind of things happen to, modern games with their DLCs and their patches. Anyway, let's just talk briefly about the movesets on these characters. So they all, they've all been equipped with the best abilities, the best weapons. So you'll notice their weapons are glowing and pulsating. That's what characters' true weapons do. They are the best weapons the characters can get. They deal a ridiculous amount of damage. You can put 6 abilities on those weapons, all of which are basically raw damage increases or damage increases against specific types of enemies. Then we have a handful of skills, the most notable ones being ones that just kind of give you more damage, and Ryoma's skill, and as you can use skills of anyone on any character, Astra. And what Astra does is it increases attack speed, which is incredibly good for the whole moving faster sort of thing. Increasing attack speed is the best ability in the game. So I put Minerva in here because we're going to actually start using both of them now. We're going to quick switch to do this level faster. So quick note, for weak enemies for Camilla, which is going to be a lot of the enemies in the early game, I'm going to be using this flop attack. It's just a heavy attack out of a dash. It has a pretty good range. It doesn't interrupt your movement too much. If you want to get in, quickly kill something and go, the flop is the way to do it. So we're going to want to kill these 4 soldiers as soon as the gates open, as soon as possible. Sometimes we're what we call dialogue queue locked, and that means that we actually have a bit more wiggle room in terms of time. But because again, more than moving fast, more than specifically, killing enemies in certain ways. The idea is to do things in such an order that it manipulates the dialogue queue, but that's one of those examples where you just want to go as fast as possible, because that mission starts and you want to complete it as fast as you can. So, here we go, we get to go into the next segment. I'm going to take Camilla up. There's 4 enemies we need to defeat before we can go fight Frederick. So, 1, 2, and the other 2 on the opposite side of the map. If I were to fly over there right now, I would actually lose a bit of time. So I'm going to take Minerva over there. Minerva, again, has an identical moveset to Camilla. So we can do the same thing, flop on those 2 enemies. And here we're going to be introduced to one of my favorite new Fire Emblem characters from a newer Fire Emblem game. So, normally I have Proto do this line, but Swordsman, why I am here to help is for me to know. She's not here, so I'm going to do it. So, just like Owain, he stumbled his way into a training battle and acted like it was the most serious thing on the planet. So now we're gonna go fight Frederick, and like most early game bosses, we can summarize our plan of attack here as flop. So we're gonna fly over. We're gonna make sure not to get hit by Frederick on the way in, because that'll lose us some time, and flop. And there we go. So once a mission's complete, it's important to make sure to hit start, because for some reason you can't skip this ending of a mission, this dialogue here, but you can skip the mission completes sign, which if you're playing casually, you probably would have never noticed that, just because it's a weird thing to be able to do. But I'm going to be mashing start because it's kind of hard to keep track of exactly where it is, and mashing it out doesn't lose you any time, so that's that. So here we have our next mission. So this mission is, this one's one we did a lot of testing on in order to figure out the main thing of the dialogue queue. We thought it would be possible to skip a bit of dialogue, a trick that we were going to name Curate Skip. There's a bit of dialogue about a curate, but as it turns out, no, that dialogue's unskippable. So we want to take these. We need to take 3 forts, and then we need to fight Belazark. So, need a bit of a quick movement here. We need to take these 3 forts before the dialogue queue catches up to us, because, see, if we don't catch them fast enough, we'll get to see more dialogue. But so long as we seize the remaining enemy force, flop, we're just good on that one. That one's actually kind of precise, because, yeah, there you go, right there it is. You need to do that pretty precisely. So, here's the thing with this. There's gonna be an upcoming door that we're gonna wait out. As soon as that door opens through the dead center, there's gonna be a bolt of magic, which, slow us down if we get hit by it, so don't want to head dead center into the door. I'm gonna be moving a little to the left, flying into it just to make sure I get in as fast as possible. And also, I mixed up the names Valadar and Belazark, but I won't tell anyone if you don't. I can trust you, right? Everyone who watches this video? I'm going to assume. I'm going to take that as a yes. I'm going to take that as a complete and utter yes. Anyway, rest in peace, Curate Skip.
Look, one of them is in danger. We must hurry to his aid.
The mission started.
So now it opens. Do a quick flop on Belazark. And we're going to ride off into the sunset. So something to note about riding off into the sunset here, which I can talk about. You'll notice that they're boarded up right now, but those are paths that only flying units can cross. But the dialogue queue can't advance when you cross them, so you need to actually time them. And when you're goofing off between missions, you need to make sure not to go across them. It's not a hard thing to do, but it is something that lost me a run once. Because I didn't know that was the case until I accidentally discovered it by flying across a flight path after a mission repeatedly. So be careful of that, kids at home. Say, I'd call that a victory! Rohan and Liana are this game's original characters. They actually fit pretty well as, like, if you told me they were from a Fire Emblem game that I never heard of, I might believe you, honestly. They're, you know, they look like real Fire Emblem characters. Like, I could totally see those two twins being, from, you know, Fire Emblem, like, spin-off number 40 that was Japan only. So anyway, this stage, you take 2 forts, destroy 2 stand pillars, and then go fight a boss who is quote-unquote Marth, or if you've ever played Fire Emblem Awakening, Lucina. So I'm going to quickly kill this, and then I need to switch over to Minerva, who's going to be doing the other half of this stage. Now Minerva's going to need to take another fort so that it's ready to open when we get there. So I'm doing a bit of using the dialogue queue to my advantage here to stack events rather than the other way around. Because I'm dialogue queue locked, it's better for me to do this. So that gate opened, so I can take this here, and then I can switch back to Camilla. So, normally you've destroyed that pillar before the thing switches. I was a little slow, so I didn't actually get to see that. But I will get it here in a second when this door opens. So this door is going to open, and we're going to get the other pillar. And then I'm going to get to talk about my favorite little game in the run. See, if you destroy the pillar before it spawns, you don't see it. And we like to play a game called How Far Can You Get Away From Your Pillar before, you know, after destroying, before the cutscene comes up. And that time I managed to get almost completely off screen. You can get completely off screen. It's kind of tough. It also doesn't matter at all, but it's a little fun game to play right there. It doesn't hurt anything. Some swag strats, I suppose. So here we're going to fight quote-unquote Marth. As soon as this door should open very shortly. It does not take a while to open. Now, here's a little fun fact about this fight. You want to kill... Marth is going to have a cutscene well, Lucina is going to have a cutscene where she comes in and, like, basically taunts you. You want to make sure to kill Lucina before that. You still see the cutscene, but there's a bunch of dialogue here. There's a bunch of dialogue here that we're not going to see because it got removed from the dialogue queue because we already defeated Marth before the cutscene. Quote-unquote Marth. So, yeah. This, you know, that making sure to do that saves 30 seconds, which is, you know, pretty significant. Pre-DLC, that trick used to be quite a bit harder. You needed to do some very swift and maneuverable combat. At this point, it's a tad easier. You can just flop.
Now that
You just gotta make sure to do it. So here we have the Dragon's Table, and this one actually has a bit of difficult dialogue queue manipulation. I need to act incredibly fast to get it here. So basically what it's going to be is we need to kill 2 mages. And I could take a straight path to the mage, but actually we're going to buffer the dialogue queue here. You see, by adding new text to a dialogue queue, we can delay the start of some dialogue, and we can skip it. But we need to be sure we do it right. So, by taking this fort, which I don't need to take,
As long as the dark barrier stands.
Someone must be powering that barrier. Let's keep an eye
and also I'm gonna, so basically the mage is in that center room there, and I can go straight up through the front, but all this stuff of Camilla sees the fort, if I go around this way before killing this mage, will buffer the dialogue queue for me, so that I can get some, I can have time to start killing stuff with Minerva, add that to the end of the dialogue queue. And I actually think I was just slightly too slow there for that. So that trick was unfortunately dropped. You can take one more fort for safety with Camilla, which in an actual marathon setting I would make sure to do. Because if you take a third fort, if you only take the 2 forts, the timing's tricky. It's possible, but tricky. If you take all 3, you're gonna get it. It's a lot safer. Fortunately, with my timing there, it wasn't too bad. I still got to go in the fort as soon as possible. So we kill Valadar there, and actually what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take Camilla, and as soon as we do this, there's going to be a sudden dialogue prompt that causes Robin to turn on us. And the moment Robin turns on us, like there, he's attackable. Now I actually do have a bit more time to get here due to the nature of the dialogue queue. Because we still have the Robin, what's wrong with you line, so flop and we're good. So we gotta knock some sense back into Robin. So yeah, we've knocked some sense back into Robin. Hi, Lucien in a wedding dress. How are you doing? Bye, Lucien in a wedding dress. How are you doing? Nice visit.
Robin, are you okay? Mom, where am I? The last thing I remember is entering the forest. Thank the gods. I'm out of it. Rest.
So we have saved Robin.
I don't want to cause trouble for a while. I think I will stay here and rest. Robin is back to normal, and we beat the enemy general.
And we're done with the stages based on Fire Emblem Awakening. We're going to start doing after this, we're going to move into the Fire Emblem Fates stages.
Sure you want to skip?
Better?
And the way they did those stages was actually kind of a little clever. If you've ever played Fates, you know that the game is divided, it's actually 2 games. It's technically 3, but for simplicity's sake, there's 2 games. One where you side with Hoshido, and one where you side with Nor. There's a mission set for each of them. The 2 twins got separated, and since they're our main characters, we have to do both. We're going to do the Hoshido ones first, just because it's slightly faster with the menuing. This level has a really cool dialogue buffer that I'm going to get to talk about here. So the first thing I'm going to do here, and my movement here is very precise, because this trick is, when you're doing a co-op, it's pretty easy, but solo, it can be quite challenging. So first we're going to move Camilla up into position. That's faster. You can move characters on the menu, but just moving her like that's faster than menuing her up there. And she's also not going to make it. So we take that unnecessary fort there. And the reason we take that fort is because the reason we take that fort is to actually bring up that dialogue, because there's a bit of dialogue that will be that's triggered by killing the first Sky Knight, and you don't want that dialogue. It's a full 30 seconds of Rohan talking about stuff. We also call it Rohan skip, as well as which is caused by the Sky Knight's buffer. But that buffer you know, that buffer lets you skip it because you're still in dialogue when that happens, which means that by the time you've killed them, the higher priority mission advanced dialogue is on the queue, and you get to skip all of that and just do the mission dialogue. So now Hinoka's going to let us in. Remember, I need to time this properly. So I did it in the middle of one of her lines. We're getting to the point where we can't just flop on a lot of enemies anymore, so for Hinoka we had to do a flop and slash. Enemies get more complicated the further we go. So, if you've never played a Musou crossover game before, we can sum up the mission types into a few categories, story-wise. There's missions of the type misunderstanding. There's we've got to train you. There's we've got to test you, or train/test you. We've got to stop these two factions from fighting, and we've got to defeat the baddie. Now, this game, in order to make friends fight a lot, uses a lot of the misunderstanding. So there's there's 2 missions in a row here going, "Did you kidnap my siblings? Did you kidnap my siblings?" Without actually asking. So here we're going to put Navarre into the party. This is because we're going to have to take 3 forts. We're going to move Navarre down there on his own, because we're going to want to be ready for that. Or rather, we're going to take 4 forts. So first I'm going to take Camilla down to this fort down here. These forts we want to take as fast as possible. There's no dialogue queue manipulation here. We just want to go fast. So we have to fight Oboro, who can do that. That was a little bit bad luck. Anyway, Camilla's going to stay down there now. Now we're going to take Navarre to this fort, and we're going to use Minerva to get the remaining 2. In co-op, you can have 2 players do different things, which is, fairly handy. But in solo, you got to take all 4, which means that you're going to have to, you're going to have to actually see some of this dialogue with the samurai. You can't get out of the samurai dialogue. Anyway, there's all 4. The samurai's advancing on Oboro. I got some bad news for that samurai, because, Oboro's not there. This game has some weird expectations about how, you're going to be pacing yourself. Not even just in the speedrun. It's kind of laughable generally a lot of the time. But in the speedrun, it's especially funny. So, here we go. Got there just in time for the gates to open. So no time lost there. So we're going to take... So now we got it. So in this mission, we have to take every single fort, which is, means that I have to actually go in and hit every corner of the map. But that's not too bad. Now, the one thing to note is upcoming, we're going to fight Takumi, who uses a bow. And if you've ever played Fire Emblem before, any Fire Emblem, you might realize that I'm kind of at type disadvantage here. Bows do a lot of damage to non-bow wielders. Now, granted, given that I'm level 130 and Takumi is like level 6 or so, that bow's not going to hurt me very much. But if you get hit by a weapon like that, like a weakness weapon, the game slows down to emphasize just how hard you've been hit. And you don't want to emphasize that. You don't want that. It's very slow to get hit by Takumi, so even though Takumi can't really hurt you, you need to be very careful, even more so than usual, because you still don't want to get hit normally. So here's Hive Prince Ryoma. This one has a lot of weird pacing stuff. Basically, I need to meet... There's going to be a thing that... I basically need to do events in a very exact order with very specific timing. Because if I don't, we'll get a lot of extra dialogue queue stuff here. This level has tons of it if you mess up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to switch over to Navarre. And Navarre is going to do the main mission here. So we have two goals here: take all the forts and rescue Ryoma in the middle of the stage. Now, the top four, only two of the forts aren't sealed off to us, and the only way to get them unsealed is to save Ryoma by defeating all of these, Wyvern Knights around him. Now, we need to make sure that not only have we defeated the Wyvern Knights, but we've seen enough of the dialogue queue so that we know that the Ryoma stuff is queued, so that we don't get other stuff. Because as soon as that one finishes, we're gonna start seeing other dialogue. We will see the ballast. That one's unavoidable, but there's other lines here that we won't avoid. So now that we've got the timing down, we can go take those two forts. So yeah, now we've joined up with Ryoma. So once again, we need to act fast here. There's 4 more forts to take as soon as this door opens, which should happen momentarily. First, it's going to open all the doors in the middle. I'm moving Camilla and Minerva in position because we have to go fast. So yeah, defeat the Wyvern Riders is successful. The plaza will open, and then these 2 doors will open. So we can take that fort. Then we want to take this fort, and then we switch back over to Camilla. Camilla can take the remaining 2 forts, and once all 4 forts are taken, we can go into the last fort, which is in the top middle. Kill the Sky Knight in there. And then that's that. So yeah, we got that with pretty good timing. We got, we pretty effectively used time there. So that's the end of the Hoshido missions. So after this, we're going to have to do the Norian ones. And, 3 of those with the exact same plots, too. Because this one was, oh no, Hinoka thinks that Sakura has been captured. The second one is, oh no, Takumi thinks that Hinoka and Sakura have been captured. And then the third one is, rescue Ryoma. Now, for the Nor missions, it's, oh no, Camilla thinks Elise has been captured. Oh no, Leo thinks Elise and Camilla have been captured. Oh no. And then, oh no, Xander's in trouble. Let's go rescue him. So I did a bit of a mistake here with one of the dialogue cues. I saw one thing I wouldn't have normally seen at the beginning because I was a little too fast on killing those Wyvern Knights, so I lost a bit of time here. You can lose a lot more, though, with worse dialogue cue stacking. Anyway, here we are, and we're going to get some Camilla mirror match action here. Because Camilla's going to go fight Camilla. Now, this mission is a little laughably easy. So, first we have to kill these 3 Wyvern Knights. And as a note, we will finish killing them before the quest to do so even comes up. Which saves a bit of dialogue queue. Because it takes all the stuff about, oh, no, we've got to kill the Wyvern Knights. So yeah, now we wait for Camilla to open her doors so that Camilla can go kill her. I like to think this is a metaphor of some sort. But, I don't know what it means. Anyway, that's it. That's the whole mission. One of the things on Camilla's axe, just as a note, the reason we were able to flop that in 1, Camilla's axe has, just for this and a few other enemies, Camilla's axe has Dragon Bane, which means that, we deal a lot extra damage to dragons, so that's why we were just able to flop. There's a few enemies that's good against. So now that we've beaten up Camilla, she'll finally listen to Camilla.
It just seems so much like
And yes, that is still funny.
misunderstanding. At least you get it now. And hey, I got to meet Elise. Isn't she a dear? I'm looking for my other siblings too. Might I come with you?
So here we are with the next mission.
Did I go
It's basically go fly and get one enemy, go fly and get another. Once again, we get to fight Niles in this mission. And Niles can be, once again, can be a pain because we primarily use our flying units, and Niles is a bow wielder. So long as Niles doesn't hit us, it's okay. So right now we're going to put Lynn in the party, because after this point we will never have to make another party change. The previous mission only had 3 slots, meaning that if I had put Lynn in earlier, she would have gotten taken out, and I would have had to do more menuing. But because, but that's the only three character mission in the game. So, so if I do that now, Lynn, even though we're not going to use Lynn in this mission, Lynn will get used in future missions, and we can put her in a... we can put her in there for then. Anyway, now we're going to fly over to the opposite side of the map with Minerva.
Lord Leo, forgive me.
Once again, killing Leo before that skips a bunch of dialogue, because we don't get to see Leo taunt us. So, it saves time. So those gates are going to open soon. But we should still make it over in time before they do for, optimal speed.
Niles has fallen. I warned him not to underestimate them. That settles it. Send our forces.
So this door is about to open. We don't need this fort, we can just go straight to Leo. The door in the back isn't closed, so we can just go straight on through and do a bit of a flop onto Leo. We don't have Mount Slayer, which is an ability, but not worth putting on. There aren't enough good mounted units for it. So we do have to do a flop swipe instead of just a flop.
That's enough punishment for now. Leo, compose yourself and let us
So we actually get over there, and we actually get to skip a lot of dialogue by doing that fast enough.
What's going on?
So,
first, please. Did I go overboard?
right there, one of those items we got was Leo's tomato. I just find that funny. I don't know what Leo has to do with tomatoes. I've played Fates, and I have no idea why Leo's silver tier item is a tomato. So this mission is a challenge. You see, you have to really memorize what you're doing here, because in this mission, we're going to start off with Camilla going into fog. Now you can clear this fog, but you'd have to activate a Dragon Vein to do so. And we will never activate non-required Dragon Veins, because they add a ton to the queue. Meaning that we kind of just got to navigate this by, by memory and what vague indications we have of where we are. So once again we need to take all forts. And something annoying about this one is that we actually need to defend them too. We need to end the mission with all forts, and enemies will attack the forts. And at one point I will actually have to go defeat some enemies to keep the fort up.
The Norian army will collapse without Xander. We must save him at all costs.
So, one thing we have to do in addition is defeat the assault troops that are attacking Rielma. They're very hard to pinpoint in the dark, but fortunately we're done with the fog. Well, now we're done with the fog. Haha! Anyway, we're done with Camilla. So now Minerva has to take her forts. Now, something worth noting is that Poison Fog, there's an enemy that clears it, and ideally we won't hit that enemy. But it's not actually that big of a difference. It's not worth realigning to miss, because that enemy spawns right next to a fort captain, so yeah, we hit him. That clears the Poison Fog, which adds a line to the dialogue queue, but it also cancels out a line about the Poison Fog needing to be gotten rid of. Unfortunately, our timing was pretty bad, and we managed to get both, which is what can happen in this game, when you make a mistake.
The mission started. A successful mission.
So yeah, we got both the mission success and the dialogue, so... Fortunately, not the best movement here. So I've taken all these. I've also killed some bonus enemies. Now, just as a note, you don't normally want to kill extra enemies. And the reason behind this is you've noticed after missions I've been getting weapons and items. It's slightly slower to pick those up, and you auto-pick them up when enemies drop them. And they're slower. This fort is always the one that falls, so I sent Navarre over to just clear the enemies out of it. Nothing else should fall before the end of the thing. We were so worried about you. Xander only cares about one of his siblings, but you know.
I like those results.
So now we're gonna wait for this, and this dialogue queue is actually not very fun for the player, because I need to be, just in case, I need to be keeping a harsh eye on the base. The one on the bottom left and the one at the very top on the right. The one on the top right and bottom left are the ones that can fall if I hadn't done some of that enemy clearing out. But I did that anyway. But I did that beforehand. But still, if you mess up anymore, you can start losing other forts. You won't necessarily know which forts, and that the length of that dialogue queue buffer can, you know, the length of that dialogue queue thing can really, you know, make it hard. Unfortunately, that extra dialogue I saw is losing me some time here. But there we go. That's that mission, and that's not actually the end of the Fire Emblem Fates levels, because once again, if you've played Fire Emblem, you might realize that we haven't actually seen our protagonist, Corrin. So,
Did I go overboard? We've become pretty good friends.
so here we go, an orchestrated battle. Corrin, Ryoma, and oh, I forgot one of the battle types for Hyrule or for Muso game crossovers has been brainwashed, because our Norian and Oshiden generals, as well as Corrin, they're all brainwashed, and we've got to defeat Yago, who you might remember as the King's Aide, who's like not even the full villain of this game. Anyway, this mission is something you can breeze past. If you weren't in New Game Plus, you'd have to be careful. The idea is that you need to take the forts on both sides simultaneously. So you don't want to get ahead on one side versus the other in New Game, because you won't be able to catch up in time, because it'll cause an imbalance of power and one side will defeat the other, because those two are fighting. Also, we're not up to the brainwashing mission yet. That was my bad. But anyway, in New Game Plus, you can move fast enough that, like, you can start taking enough forts to even it out before that would even happen. Now, for some reason, Minerva and Camillo like to go north. It's a little annoying, but it's not so slow that it's worth pausing, opening the thing, and menuing Camilla downwards. Because Minerva, we're controlling Minerva. If I were to move Camilla, Minerva would run off. And no matter what, the red gate opens first. Even if you take the yellow one first, which we did, the red gate opens first. I'm not sure why they did it that way, but that's how it works. It probably has something to do with the fact that the gates can't open anyway until you've taken all of the forts on both sides. But still. So you'll see Camilla went pretty far away, so I'm going to have to run her quickly back down. There's a gatekeeper here, followed by just a standard enemy that we can flop on. Now, Camilla actually got to go all the way back, which was a little annoying. So now we have to fly all the way back down, which will lose us a bit of time. There's actually ways to manipulate. So this is one of those stages that the community is a little baffled by. There's some variance in dialogue queue here, and it's one of the weirder ones. We're not sure what causes it. We've gone over footage of we've gone over footage of like when it happens and when it doesn't, but all we can say for sure is that sometimes we get a dialogue cue skip here. But we're honestly not sure why. It didn't happen this run. But that's something that we can figure out. That hopefully we'll figure out in the near future.
Wait, where'd Sandra go?
So now we do that brainwashing mission that I was talking about.
Yield success.
My soul is dull.
So
There's only
whatever happened to Corrin anyway? This is our last Fates mission. And this is the one with the story I said was about the last one. But anyway, after this one, we're going to get back into the original plot of this game. Anyway, we're gonna go run to defeat Yago, and then we're gonna go run to defeat Yago again. This is another one where we tried a lot with dialogue queue manipulations. There's a lot of dialogue that'll point out when we get to that seems like we could manipulate it out, but it turned out not to quite work out that way. So you know, fortunately, that's what this stage gives you.
Wait a second. Now Corrin's attacking us too?
So, gotta get this door open.
Such a sick smell.
Yago is one of our characters who loves chewing the scenery. By the way, this game is, we have the voices set to English.
you'll pay dearly for this.
Given that this whole game, and most of this run, is about manipulating the dialogue queue to go faster, you do not want Japanese voices. It would make the game significantly slower. It is not an option. You have to do this in English.
All right, we've opened one escape route. Quickly.
Anyway, so we're gonna go flop on Yago, and this won't quite kill Yago. It won't even, but it will get Yago to half. Now we're gonna get this door to open, and we have a bunch of dialogue here, unfortunately, that we tried pretty hard to get around, but was no dice. There's no way around this unless someone finds something that we couldn't. We have a cool little community, though. I think it's a good time to talk about that. The Fire Emblem Warriors community, we're not actually all that big, which, you know, I think has mostly to do with the fact that this game came out a week before Mario Odyssey did, so it kind of got forgotten, but we have, like, such a nice little community. Everyone's super friendly. I absolutely adore our community. Like, we all like to work together on this stuff. You know, it took a while, but new runners started to trickle in, and it's just been an absolutely wonderful experience. Huge shout-outs to everyone in that community. Okay, now we can go through there. And we have to kill these 3 mages, which have replaced fort captains, which is kind of a weird thing this mission does, because normally the enemies in forts are always fort captains, but these ones are mages. Anyway, killing the 3 mages will remove that Door of Darkness. And I'm going to talk about a little glitch I'm going to attempt here. It is an absurdly hard thing to pull off, and it only saves a matter of, like, frames. So you may have noticed earlier, actually, that I switched over to Lyn here. That's actually not related to the glitch. Lyn just does combat better, and because I had time to pair her up, I did. So I'm actually going to talk about pair-up tech instead right now. I'll talk more about that glitch later, because I don't think I get it here. But basically, you can, like in the newer Fire Emblems, it used to be support, but now it's pair-up. You can pair up 2 units, and you can use the other one as an attack. Now our 2 flying units, Minerva and Camilla, they actually have abilities called Lone Wolf, which means they're stronger if they're not paired up. That being said, it's a good way to transport Lyn and Navarre around for when you need to do combat faster, because Lyn will tear through Yago much faster than Minerva would have.
I'll kill you myself.
But Yeah, there's also the fact you can summon the other unit as an attack, which guarantees brings up the damage wheel, which we haven't actually seen yet. But basically, on stronger enemies, you can bring up a wheel, which we'll see later. That can let you land a critical hit, which does a lot of damage, which again, important for strong enemies. We'll talk more about that and the mechanics of those when we start seeing them more. The other thing is there's actually a little technique if you want to switch rapidly between your strongest combat, where if you dash as a flying unit, you can actually do an immediate switch to your walking unit without like taking any time to, because flying units normally can't switch out of a dash, but if you do that trick, they can. So you can get instant switches, which does a lot for combat. It was utilized a lot more heavily before the DLC. With flying units being so powerful, it's not necessary in as many places anymore. But it's still a neat little piece of tech that is worth mentioning. So, oh boy. Here we go. This mission is, you see, it's an escort quest. So I'm going to get to do a couple cool things at the beginning of here. Going to kill a fort captain. I'm going to take, Minerva. We're going to go make sure to get that middle fort. We're going to take a quick slide by. Basically, this NPC here, Darius, we need to guide him around. We need to get him into that middle fort that we don't actually have yet. It should open in a moment. I'm going to take this time to pair Navarre for some pair-up tech in a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to not want to actually stay too close too often to Darius, the NPC we're escorting, because it causes, when I stand too close, it causes enemies to spawn near him, but I will need to go near him to clear them out as well. So I'm going to come in and flop. Flopping's really good here because it clears out large portions of enemies. Darius will fight anything and everything around him. It's super annoying. There's a bit of RNG here. We want Darius to walk over towards the entrance. He'll start actively moving there when the dialogue queue says, which we try to bring to the forefront of the dialogue queue. It should be after the Myrmidon quest this time, I believe. But, yeah, Darius, even once he starts moving actively, first of all, he can still move towards the fort, but even once he started moving actively, he will still stop to fight everything, especially health barred enemies. Any enemy that has a health bar, you want to go. So Darius is advancing again. That was pretty good in terms of how quickly Darius started moving. Plus, he moved pretty close to the fort entrance, so that was pretty good. We also have to escort him again later, like at this point in the mission. But fortunately, this time he's kind of got a linear path to go down, so he doesn't have as much trouble moving forward. That's really that first bit. Anyway, once he comes in, he'll lower these drawbridges. And we now have to take that middle fort so that Darius can go get it. Now, unfortunately, I'm having a bit of an issue here. You see, I need to kill this, I need to kill that gatekeeper for it to open. Occasionally, even in single, this happens a lot in co-op these days, but even in single player it happens occasionally. The enemy didn't spawn and I had to kind of wait for it. So I'm just killing enemies with health bars here, so that Darius went. I actually took a bit of a wrong turn. I'm not supposed to be going this way. I kind of realize it right here. Small mistake. I still have plenty of time to turn around before Darius would have gotten there. And he didn't actually end up getting stopped by them anyway, so that worked out for the best in any case. So, I'm not doing anything you might notice at this point. And this is because this mission is actually over. This mission's a bit of a unique case. We're supposed to seize the castle, but see, we walked straight into a trap, and Darius got kidnapped, and I'm sure he's not at all evil and plotting against us and planning on this, and didn't totally just walk into the castle. So I'm just waiting it out. I'm making very sure not to kill enemies because you know, enemy kills, they drop weapons and items, and weapons and items kill frames.
I am with you. But don't let your guard down. There are still a lot of enemies. Excellent. Now we can get inside.
So, oh no, it was a trick. We've been fooled.
Sure you want to skip?
Only hero?
Sure you want to skip?
Daily training yields success.
So, that mission's over with. That was actually very lucky, as far as Darius missions go. So,
You're right.
this mission has a bit of RNG that is actually super interesting. We can actually, for some reason it doesn't work 100% of the time, but we can actually, about 95% of the time, we know what the result of it is by how the dialogue queue acts. And this is another weird one where the dialogue queue kind of acts a bit different without us really figuring out why. It's not a big one this time, though. It's maybe 5 seconds difference between the two. But anyway, if I remember correctly, this might have been in the previous run, but I think I made a mistake here. Yeah, I didn't actually finish killing Garneth, which actually doesn't matter too much because of the dialogue queue, because we still would have had to sit through this stuff. But not doing this did throw off my knowledge of RNG manipulation here, or, well, not really manipulation so much as reading. But, you see, once you've killed Garneth, which I realized I didn't do just there. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. Bit of a tiny mistake. I realized I think I did it here. Yeah, right here. Yeah, I'm about to fix that, but... See, because I did this in this weird way... unfortunately, my reading of my ability... It didn't really lose a ton of time, but because of, you know, the dialogue queue. Because we would have seen all this stuff eventually anyway, but, well, not all of it, actually. We lost a bit of time. We shouldn't have had to see the lightning stuff. But, unfortunately, what this means... is that Garneth is going to spawn two clones and a real version of himself.
Garneth, show yourself.
And because I kind of got into a weird pattern here, normally I know which one it is. There's 3 of them. It's never the one on the top, ever. I've never seen it be that one. It's the one on the right, if you see Navarre's line of, this tree is bigger than expected. And if you don't see that line, it's the one on the left. I've seen that fail, but it works most of the time. I believe it has something to do with this RNG being based off of how long it took you to do the mission, which ties into the dialogue queue as well, because the dialogue queue is going to kind of set you on the same timing path if you do the mission one of 2 ways.
The mission started. Every shadow is an equal threat. We must find and defeat
So,
Garneth quickly.
I didn't get it the first time. I didn't know how to read that dialogue thing. Still wasn't the top one, which is good, because the top one is absolutely the slowest one. But that's not really a mistake I should be making in the future. That was kind of a unique mistake.
Garneth has escaped. We cannot let our guard down as long as he's free.
So, speaking of, these are the missions here are a bit weird. They're Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, aka Fire Emblem 1. You know, Shadow Dragon is the remake of Fire Emblem 1, so they call it Shadow Dragon in the game, but it's Fire Emblem 1. It's those characters, aka the ones you might recognize from Smash. And by the ones, I mean Marth. But they kind of also mix them a little more closely with the main story of this game, so... It's a little wishy-washy. And it's also just that one. Despite the fact that that one actually unlocks like 4 characters. So this mission is basically AI, please don't. I'm gonna be, when I have downtime, I'm gonna be moving AI. And the reason I'm gonna be doing that is because I don't want them taking any unnecessary forts. There are a lot of unnecessary forts in this mission. Basically, I can go up the left or the right-hand side here. The AI will try to take forts, and because this is New Game Plus and they're all powerful, they will succeed. And if they take the fort, I get stuck in the dialogue queue for just that much longer. It's not a huge deal because it's literally just 3 seconds per fort. And they'll never take more than 2.
We seized the fort.
So at minimum it's 6 seconds, but that being said, why lose 6 seconds? So I'm going to be turning them around. I'm also right now, I'm doing pairing for a different reason. I'm pairing Lyn with Minerva. This way I can control them as one, and they're less likely to go do something I don't want them to do on their own. Anyway, these doors are about to open, so I switched back to Camilla.
If we take out the central fort, we should be able to go deeper. The mission started.
Navarre's fort on the right is already taken, so there's nothing to be done about that, because I took that on the way up. So yeah, so that's that. I'm gonna move Minerva out of there, fly her pretty far, decently far away. Anyway, we need to take these forts in this direction. Now you might notice those purple spots on the mini map. Those are portals, and I don't want to go near them because if I go near them, you know, you see a cutscene. I've actually purposely routed the way through this area. For the sole purpose of avoiding portals. You might notice that one at the top right is unavoidable, but it only looks unavoidable. Unfortunately, Minerva, I didn't quite bring her out far enough, and she managed to take that fort. So we lost the 3 seconds to Minerva taking that fort. She shouldn't be able to get a second one.
Attack the enemy's rear! Make them scatter!
We should have been more cautious. They're coming from the rear.
So there's a bunch of dialogue here.
The mission started.
Unfortunately, this is one you can't really do anything about.
The fort is ours. Let's hope this victory won't be our last.
Yeah, characters talking.
That's the spirit. I'm sure we can.
This one especially, you know, if this...
Fort.
This especially would probably be a pretty good time for donations right here.
Fort. A successful mission. Tell us.
But yeah, we're gonna get to go in now.
Answer me.
North! There's a jail on the north side. He's probably there.
Then he's close. Everyone, move out.
So, okay, we finally get that cutscene, and so something here, we're gonna have to take this fort to open it. Now, a little bit here, I'm hugging the left side of the screen so that we don't actually activate that portal's cutscene, because that's considered far enough away from it to do that. So we need to kill these 4 enemies, and something fortunate about this level, and a few of the ones from this point forward,
The mission started.
no post anything. No, completely cancels out the dialogue queue once you've killed those enemies. You know, straight into the next thing.
Did I go?
Not every mission from this point forward does this, but a few of them do, and it's very appreciated. It saves us the trouble of, like, end mission dialogue queue stacking.
We've opened.
You're right. We're not.
Yes.
It's the.
We're going. Good to ready.
So here we have another one where I need to do stuff on the left and the right side. So I'm going to have to fight up. The enemies are going to start to get powerful enough where they're not just going to kneel over and die. On Camilla's side, I'm going to want Lyn for that, but I'm only going to be going into the middle. I basically go around and meet back up in the middle, but I'm only going to be going into the middle with one character, which means that I'm only going to pair up on one side. Because on both sides, there's 2 sages I need to kill. And
Stop the caster making this wall.
this level's also ridiculously easy to get lost in casually. It's a maze.
We're being targeted.
But yeah, so we kill a sage here, right up here. And killing both sages on both sides will lower the Wall of Darkness.
Apocalypse.
So then we'll switch to Minerva. Not worth pairing Navarre because we don't, you know, fight anything big. I'm gonna kill that Gatekeeper. Notice that Minerva's killing them a little faster than Camilla was. That's because Minerva isn't paired and therefore has Lone Wolf active. But it'll absolutely be worth it when we get to the boss up here, who is Darius. So we get to get a little revenge on him for making us escort him. Which is, you know, I feel like that should be a general rule. If a game's going to make you do an escort mission, they should at least, you know, give you the courtesy of, you know, letting you free. So I'm actually killing the fort captain with Minerva, and the reason I did that was because Minerva's not paired, so she should be able to get it in one, which is a small time save over switching back to Camilla right away. But Minerva has no reason to come up this far, so as you can see, I did an instant switch. I got armor broken, which is a thing in this game. Now, you may notice this white wheel around Darius. I'm going to be draining that. I'm actually going to be throwing Camilla. If I hit with that attack, it'll bring it up immediately. Unfortunately, I missed, and I, you know, got this dragon cutscene, which is not a great sign. This Darius fight is not super great, but it's okay. So once again, no closing cutscene.
Daily training yields success.
I'm pleased we've been able to get to know each other better.
Yeah, so with a lot of these bosses upcoming, we're going to be wanting to fight them as Lynn or Navarre.
You want to skip?
He was in. Get it.
Remember? Yes.
There. Come on.
And so Darius wasn't actually defeated. He was healed by the power of darkness. So we have another mission, and this is a very busy one. So first we need to shatter 3 orbs, or Darius can't be hurt. We shatter the orbs by defeating the enemies in front, and I'm going to have to send our flying units off to do that, because they're very far away. Now, fortunately, Navarre will run in to fight Darius on his own, which is very convenient for me, because the AI does behave completely consistently. So because Navarre ran in there, or is currently running in there, rather, I don't have to move a character in there when it's time to fight him, so that saves time. So I took that one as Camilla. And now there's 2 more. There's one in the direct opposite spot, like symmetrically, and then there's one in the back where we started, in the last mission. So I kind of just have to fly over there. Before the DLC came out, these sages were actually kind of tough, but because of the huge damage boosts from the DLC, they go down pretty fast. So we can kill the sages a lot faster now.
Nice work.
So there goes one Dark Crystal.
I like those results.
Let's kill the fort captain to open the door, kill the gatekeeper, kill the sage. Now, unfortunately, I did make a bit of a dialogue queue mistake there. I didn't get to that 3rd sage fast enough, and we now have to sit through just 1 line of dialogue. It's not a big deal. Anyway, Darius, so around a quarter health, Darius is gonna stop taking damage. Yeah, we're gonna focus more on pushing Darius into this side area, just because this is convenient for us. Because we actually want to be over here. So these 2 portals open, and so long as these portals are open, you can't kill Darius. He will always heal to full once when you kill him, but when you kill him the first time. But if the portals are open, he won't take that last hit of damage, period.
Nice work.
This is our only chance to save him.
Although we still get dialogue queue locked on that last hit for the portal defeat. So this fight isn't actually as time sensitive as it seems. What's more important is killing the portals as fast as possible. Anyway, as you can see, I got him down and he healed the full.
There has to be something we can do to free Darius from this. I've got the
So, yeah. See there, I emptied the wheel and I get to do this giant attack, but Navarre gets this edgy filter on his. There we go. The dialogue cube passed, and I can finish that mission now.
Daily training yields success.
If you're wondering about my splits, by the way, and why I'm so far ahead of them, this run was the first full run I did after the DLC came out, so the older stuff is pre-DLC, which is why we're so far ahead of it. Just as a quick note there. Anyway, this mission is a bit of a doozy. You basically have to do everything on this map. Capture all the forts, close all the dark portals, close all the dark portals again. Actually activate all the dragon veins because they raise towers that need to be raised. So we need to kill all these outrealm. This mission is just the works. It's kind of the last normal mission. The next two are kind of like... The next one's a lead into the final boss, and then the last one is the final boss. So this is kind of our send-off to, you know, standard missions. So they just gave us the whole shebang here. Anyway, we started off with Camilla by taking that one portal downstairs, or in the middle where she started, because she spawns right by it. And then we're going to do a lot as Minerva. The characters, the way the AI moves is a little variable here, and we're going to have to keep a close eye on it to know what to do when. Because they're all going to want to we're going to want to handle all the new stuff that comes up as soon as it does. So here I take a Dragon Vein. Dragon Veins are slow to take if you don't have to, but if you have to, then you have to. And we're going to close this thing. We're going to do a lot with Minerva right now. Again, we want to take the flying units because they're faster. But yeah, we need every fort. Yeah, and see, the fort cleared that out of the way, which is the only way through there. Which isn't actually a way we need to go, but we do need it. Like, that one won't heal if we don't heal the other ones, so... So we're going to take that one, and then, that thing opens, so we're going to want to circle back around down there. Minerva's now too far away, so we're probably going to switch to someone else if someone else is closer. But it actually doesn't look like someone is. Well, Camilla's kind of closer. It's not worth switching, though. We're just going to head over with Minerva. Bit unfortunate AI movement. Usually it's perfectly predictable, but with just how many like various elements there are in this stage and how many different things can happen, they're actually kind of unpredictable here. This is the only mission where AI behavior is unpredictable. So yeah, now that's going to get fixed, and I can take that. And I also moved Minerva over there because an Outrealm portal is about to open there. And I will need to close all three of the new ones. Minerva's near one. Unfortunately, Camilla's near one too, but I need her down, so I'm going to have to move her away. Lynn is also kind of close to it. We're going to have to play by ear what happens there. This one I can get on the way because of when it spawned, so I can just pick it off on the way. Close that portal. The one on the top, Navarre has kind of moved close to it. We're going to have to see when that happens. But first we're going to take care of Minerva's already at one. Looking for the Outrealm Sentry, which spawned pretty far away from it. A little strange, but it is what it is. So Navarre kind of wandered up here on his own, which is pretty good. We can just get him over there, and he can take care of the last piece of our puzzle here. This mission is kind of unique in that it's not really about dialogue cube manipulation. It's just about doing them in the most efficient order.
This time we close all the portals for sure.
Because even though there is dialogue queue, there is just so much stuff to do here that you're not going to be ahead of it. At least in single player. In co-op, you can get ahead of it, but not in single player. You can just barely match it perfectly.
You two can have a peaceful chat with her now. Sure you want to skip?
Daily training yields success.
So this next mission is Clash at the World Tree, and this one has you fight mirror images of your party. Which is, you know, not insignificant, considering that nothing else is as good as our party. Anyway, much like last time we did this, we're going to use pairing tech on Camilla, who's going to be doing all the stuff in the middle and doing all the more big fights. And we're not going to be using... Or, rather, that actually changed in the most recent patch. We no longer use pairing tech here. It's not worth the timing. Here's a Dragon Vein we actually have to activate. You'll notice a thing there. I was pressing Y, but it was actually just doing the attack because I wasn't perfectly aligned on top of it. Anyway, we're going to go back for Lynn, or for Navarre now. I guess we're not doing it before the first fort.
Yeah, great idea, Robin. Let's take a fort that has a dragon. The mission started.
But, yeah, there we go. So, I took those two. Minerva also needs to get up there. It's weird, because the mission here says that you only have to take one of the forts, but you need both of them. There's no other way to kill all the shadows that we're going to need to kill, and the shadows are guarding mages, which we need to kill.
Let's press on. We don't have time to drag our feet here.
So, there's a little bit of an interesting tidbit here. There's another one of those weird cutscenes that you can skip, but no one knows how. It has only been done in a run one time, and that was in co-op. It's this cutscene where it zooms in on the dark wall. There was one run where this didn't happen. It was one of mine and Proto's co-op runs. We got to skip this. What causes it? Is it possible single player? We're not sure. But it could be something possible single player. Anyway, now the shadows have been summoned. And they're actually decently tough. I'm pretty sure they, in fact, they're weaker than you are, but at the same time they scale with your level, so... You know, being level 130 against these things, they, you know, actually do stuff.
I didn't expect it to be so hard to take up arms against such familiar faces.
So, again, we're switching to Navarre here.
Though they resemble us closely, their strength pales in comparison to ours.
Yeah. So they can be kind of tough. But, that being said, they still don't, it's still just one enemy 3 times. So I want to get the shadows out of the way as fast as possible, because that's the current quest. So, since Minerva didn't, didn't have to go anywhere afterwards, I saved her mage for, I saved her mage, I should switch over to Minerva in a second, yeah. Yeah, it looks like I actually kind of made a mistake here and forgot to switch back to Minerva for a little bit. So, I lost a bit of time here. So, I'm going to explain a little glitch here while I'm waiting for me to have figured it out in the past. But... Oh, Minerva ended up getting it on her own. I guess I just never noticed. Well, that explains a lot. But yeah, so I was dashing repeatedly at that wall of darkness, and there's a very, very precise trick. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but the window's only a few frames. And if you dash into a wall of darkness, it only works on walls of darkness. If you want to dash into a wall of darkness as a flying unit, just as it's opening in the cutscene, your momentum will carry and you'll land inside, which in some places can save a few seconds. And by a few seconds, I mean less than a second. But it costs nothing to attempt it, so it's worth doing. That being said, you need to kind of be aware of exactly when the cutscene will play, which is not really a feasible thing.
Let's pass what we can. We've made it this far. The Chaos Dragon should be just ahead.
We made a promise to Darius. We have to defeat the Chaos Dragon.
So here we are, and we're about to enter our final level, where we'll fight the Chaos Dragon Velazark. If you played Hyrule Warriors, you might be more familiar with these giant enemy types. This is the only one in this game.
What? It is.
It's not a complicated fight, but the setup to get to the fight is a little tricky. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch where Camilla and Lynn are on the opening map. And the reason I'm doing this is because Camilla's area... so enemy drops are 100% consistent. We don't tend to care that much because we don't use a lot of the drop items, but there's something called an Awakening. And Awakening is an ability that you might have noticed the blue meter to the left of the health bar. It puts you basically in a state where your attacks are all more powerful, and only against this enemy is it worth the animation that causes that where this thing starts. And that enemy will always drop a full Awakening gauge. And the thing we're doing here is that these 4 Dark Crystals, we need to take them all out, which means that every character has to go take out a Dark Crystal. I'm also waiting to do other things before that, because the Dark Crystals need to be in the front of the dialogue queue. You can go fight the Velazark without taking down the Dark Crystal, but he's unkillable. So I need to go to each character and take out their Dark Crystal. So that makes 3. Then I need to activate a Dragon Vein to open the middle. It's important my timing here, because there's a cutscene to finish off the... there's a cutscene at the end of You've Activated the Dragon Vein, good job. There's a cutscene at the end of that, which is totally avoidable. Well, it's not avoidable, but it'll be eaten by the time you're fighting the boss, since the game ends immediately after killing the boss. You don't have to wait through anything. I got a bit lost as Camilla here, apparently. But we are dialogue queue locked here, so it's not hugely important. So I need to take this. I need to... The thing is, it doesn't matter that I got lost there. Because I do not want to hit this Dragon Vein until after all 4 crystals have disappeared. If I do that, it'll ruin the dialogue queue, and I'll have to end up waiting a lot longer. So I'm going to wait here for just a second. I'll hit it in right now.
I like those results.
So now this, once that's done, this wall of darkness will open.
Let's pass what we
Yeah.
can.
And I can walk straight through it. I'm going to activate my Awakening state. Velazark's going to come down in a minute.
Sure you want to...
And now you can see, so Velazark's, you'll notice that Velazark's weakness gauge is gold. And that happens when you have weapon advantage. And the thing is, if you're in Awakening mode, you always have weapon advantage. And Lynn is strong enough that, she only needs the 1. She'll do the animation several times, because there's kind of things, and it requires you to end on that animation. We actually don't call time until afterwards, because in co-ops, player 2 can technically still run around at that point. So, I'm going to leave the closing credits on this video here, but as for this commentary, I'm going to bow out and let you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching this commentary video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day.
Thank you! Without your strength, we never could have pulled this off!
The Chaos Dragon is destroyed, and it's thanks to everyone. We were able to look beyond all that which divides us and work together. I'm so glad that we could do it.
time has come for us to return to our worlds. You no longer need the help of a ragtag band of heroes, do you now?
Now that your struggle is over, so too must ours be put to rest. Both for Nor and Hoshido. Our future is a shared one.
I feel we've been here forever, but it hasn't been that long at all. The bonds we created, will they endure?
Yes. Ours are friendships that will never falter. Far-flung though we may be, we shall not forget them.
We return to our world, it's true. But I'm sure we'll meet again. For the future of all our worlds. Let's make it happen.
We support each other, now and always. But it's important that you support each other as well. Believe in each other. When times are at their worst and nothing can split your kingdom asunder.
Listen to me. No matter what kind of troubles await you down the road, remember that you are never alone. You can overcome anything. Time to go.
I guess it's all over, isn't it?
No. Now's when it all gets started. From here on out, we'll use our abilities to protect Aetolis, no matter what.
Yes. And starting now, we won't run away from our duty. No matter what happens, I know we'll see it through. Let's go home.
Yeah. Back home to the castle.
you're having fun, because I certainly am.
Fire Emblem Warriors.
Sure you want to skip?
Leave your... No! Prince, it is... What are you... All right, we're...
Good to ready.
Focus, both of you, and make for the exit. She's probably on her way there.
Ready.
Remember your training. Cut through them like so many blades of grass. He looks formidable. Be on your guard.
The mission's starting.
Watch it closely and look for any sort of opening. Then take it down.
A successful mission.
We're here to sit.
Sure you want to skip? First, please. Did I go overboard?
Looks like... Don't... There's no...
Good to ready.
Just focus on making it out of town for now. Head for the exit.
The market gates are closed. We're blocked off.
You have to defeat the monsters in your way if you want to open that gate.
The mission's starting. A successful mission. The path opened.
The gate's open. Let's go.
I've got the latest.
We can get to the exit through this plaza. There might be a little problem.
If those monsters are the problem, we'll just have to take them all out.
The mission's starting. A successful mission. I spot enemy reinforcements.
How are there still so many monsters?
Sure you want to... The reinforcements are here. The path opened.
Marth? Just who are you anyway?
No time to chat. Break through and go. The mission's starting. A successful mission.
I think you'll be safe now. I must take my leave of you.
The path opened. Ready.
We're nearly there.
What happened to Marth?
He got out first, right? Where did he go?
First, please. Did I go overboard? Sure you want to skip?
I see. You're right. Just a... If we are... Not a...
What is it?
As you wish.
Good. Ready.
If everything is in order, let's go. First, you need to take out the soldiers surrounding the area.
The mission's starting.
Take them out in no time flat.
Focus here. This isn't a game. We need to win their trust.
Okay, let's get started.
A successful mission.
That went well. Don't let your guard down. The real test is yet to come.
Exactly. Your next opponent is there.
The path opened. The mission's starting. A successful mission.
Ha! I thought this was supposed to be a test. You're going easy on us, Frederick.
Lissa, you would do well to stay focused on the next wave I sent in.
The path opened. I spot enemy reinforcements.
Reinforcements from 2 directions. Let me hit this.
Know your enemy, predict their actions, and crush them.
The mission's starting. We can't let our guard down. I've got the latest.
Lissa, that's too far. We're surrounded by enemies.
Sure you want to... The reinforcements are here.
I am Owain, the Dark Swordsman. Why I'm here to help is for me to know.
Join the fray or don't. One more ally won't make much of a difference.
We've got to change tactics. I've got the latest. A successful mission.
We conquered your trials, Frederick. How about acknowledging our strength?
You've done well thus far. However, the greatest trial is still ahead of you.
The path opened.
Prepare to face me!
The mission's starting. A successful mission.
Well, Frederick, feeling the resolve?
A bit too much. Power is one thing, but strength of one's heart is another matter.
Yeah. But did you see how much I helped out?
You...
First, please. Did I go overboard?
She should be here.
Wrong. What did you... I'll...
creature.
Oh,
We should...
I'll take... Good to... Ready. Sure you want to...
Chris Stone's soldiers attacking an Aetolisian temple.
Robin and Cordelia need us. Quickly, defeat the enemies and seize the temple.
The mission's starting. Ready. We seize the fort. A successful mission.
We took out most of the troops who broke into the temple.
Robin, you look pale. Are you feeling okay? Don't push yourself too hard.
Don't worry about me, Kron. That last battle was tough, but I'm okay.
I spot enemy reinforcements.
Halfway competent. But I'm far from beat. All units advance. Tear them apart.
That mage. Who is he? How is he leading Gristone troops?
The mission's starting. Change
don't see any priests in the temple. If they're under attack, we must help them.
I've got the latest.
Look, one of them is in danger. We must hurry to his aid.
The mission's starting. The path opens.
Focus on the fight before me or I'll be surrounded.
We can't let them surround us. Let's wipe out those reinforcements.
Remember, take on opponents you can easily defeat. And watch their weapons.
The mission's starting. A successful mission.
I'll allow you this meager victory. For the real fun is still to come.
Who is that man? When he laughed, it felt like he was looking right through me.
He may have escaped, but the temple is safe. I call that a victory.
Sure you want to skip?
First, please. Did I go overboard?
Where do we...
He lived...
In that prom.
She's in... The
Good to go. Ready. This sandstorm seems impassable. At this rate, we'll never get through.
The sandstorm is keeping to a specific location. Could this be magic?
Magic. I did spot an odd stone pillar. Could breaking it affect the storm? The mission's starting. We seized the fort. I've got the latest.
Is this the pillar Cordelia mentioned? It is kind of sketchy, so let's wreck it.
I like those results. Nothing's happening. Try breaking the other pillar. Ready. We seized the fort. I've got the latest. I like those results. Now we can give orders. A successful mission.
The sandstorm! It stopped!
How did they make it this far? An ambush should slow them down.
The path opened. The gates are open. Let's go find Mark. The mission's starting. We seized the fort. A successful mission. Sure you want to skip? The mission's starting. Change in plans. I don't see us having a meaningful discussion here.
You can say that again, sis. Let's save the chit-chat for after we win.
A successful mission.
I am defeated.
That was well fought. It seems you live up to the legend your name carries.
Now that I'm...
Daily training yields success.
We've all...
Robert...
You don't... We won't...
What?
Come on.
Good. Ready.
That must be the dragon's tail. Now, let's go stop Valadar's twisted ritual.
I've got the latest.
The walls are impenetrable as long as the dark barrier stands.
Someone must be powering that barrier. Let's keep an eye out as we fight.
The mission's starting. We seized the fort. The path opened. My turn.
Let me handle this.
I've got the latest.
You there! Please help!
Someone is being attacked. We have to help out. The mission's starting.
Seems we'll need to break through the gates to reach certain areas here.
Ready. A successful mission. Let's pass while we can.
The barrier's disappeared. Now we just need to get Valadar.
My turn now. The mission's starting. A successful mission.
Now I must retreat. But I cannot accept this as fated. You think you can act as you please? You played right into my hands.
I spot enemy reinforcements.
You're going down.
We should have been more cautious.
Robin? What's wrong with you? Could he be possessed?
The mission's starting. Change in plans. A successful mission.
Robin, are you okay? Where am I? The last thing I remember is entering the forest. Thank the gods. I've come out of it. Rest now. We can speak later. I don't want to cause trouble for a while. I think I will stay here and rest.
Robin is back to normal and we beat the enemy general. Looks like a victory.
We should seal this altar so it can never be used for this ceremony again.
Sure you want to skip?
Better?
Daily training yields success. My key.
Oh, it is. That's.
It's my. Are you okay? Look. Head.
Soccer.
No.
Good to ready. Sure you want to skip? Oshid and Sky Knights are heading this way. We need to stop them to advance. The mission's starting. I've got the latest.
We can't hold out for long at this rate.
My turn.
Our allies are surrounded. Let's help them.
The mission's starting. I've got the latest. A successful mission.
We held them off. For now.
She doesn't understand.
I'm not sure she's listening to us. It seems we're headed for a fight.
The mission's starting. A successful mission. Hang in there, Sakura. I'm coming. You're wrong, Minoka. These people, they saved me.
What? Have I had the wrong idea this whole time?
Daily training yields success.
We've got.
Are you rowing?
What?
Oh, those.
If caught
They-
where are
I?
Lord, they...
Ready for orders.
Prepare. Yes. It will be done.
Ready to end the battle. Good to ready. Sure you want to skip? We're running out of time. We need to find those herbs right away.
Sorry, everyone. I'm relying on you all now.
the forts are packed with enemy troops? Let's take them and start our search.
The mission's starting. Ready.
I'll take the lead.
We see it's the fort. Ready. We see it's the fort. I spot enemy reinforcements.
Enemy forces! I must report this to Captain Oboro at once!
A Hoshida messenger. We can't let him get in our way. Please, stop that man. The mission's starting. We see it's the fort. A successful mission.
Let's open the gates and draw them in. That way we can just pick them off.
The path opened.
Enemies got in your way? I wish I could fight you.
We've got to get our hands on those herbs. Everyone, secure the forts. I've got the latest. Ready. The mission's starting. We see it's the fort. A successful mission. The path opened.
If you were looking for a fight, now you've got one.
The mission's starting.
We're not going to get away with this. Ow! Hey! Knock it off! Let me go!
A successful mission. I did it! We're running out of time. Hand me all the herbs you gathered.
Daily training yields success.
How Prince? Yeah, you are.
I'm... Oh,
Lady, Lord, we're looking other... This... Oh.
Good to ready.
Let me handle this.
look at that horde of Norians! We're in for a tough fight.
And Ryoma's in the thick of it. The mission's starting.
Yeah,
targeted!
My turn now.
Oh, those Norian scum have taken all the ballistae.
That's no good. We better take them back before they wipe us out.
The mission's starting. A successful mission. Sure you want to...
All right, focus on this area first. We must push them back.
Yeah, make them regret turning their swords on us. Kill them all!
The mission's starting. A successful mission. The path opened. The path opened.
You think you can just do whatever you want?
My turn now.
All right, let's move. Clear the next fort, and we can advance from there.
Yes! We can do it together, Ryoma.
The mission's starting. The path opened.
Keep it up. We're breaking through. Victory could be ours soon.
Did everyone hear that? Let's buckle down and take that fort.
The mission's starting. A successful mission.
Great work, everyone. We've reclaimed the area from the Norians.
I'm glad you're okay, too.
I knew you could take care of yourself.
I'm so happy we're all together again.
Thank you all. I knew I could count on my siblings.
And that about sums...
First, please. Did I go overboard?
My sword is dull.
I hope, but I...
Hey.
Hey,
I am your cloak.
but... You're... What?
Good to ready. Sure you want to...
We gotta stop Camilla somehow.
It's too dangerous. Please wait beside the base. We'll handle this. The mission's starting. Enemy soldiers are approaching. We must protect the base. I've got the latest. A successful mission. Nice. The base is protected.
You children are getting rowdy. It might be time for some punishment.
The path opens. The mission's starting.
Scarier than Mother when she's angry. We must stop her quickly.
No more fighting. I don't want you getting hurt, Camilla.
As long as they keep attacking, we have no choice but to stop them. A successful mission.
These are good people, Camilla. They saved me.
Oh, it just seemed so much like... I'm so sorry for the misunderstanding.
At least you get it now. And hey, I got to meet Elise.
Isn't she a dear? I'm looking for my other siblings, too. Might I come with you? First, please. Did I go overboard?
If I must... The br... No, the... No, two... If that has to...
Hey, I really... Thank you.
I don't... It's...
Camilla,
Rude, but I'll just...
here. Good luck out there. Good ready.
Sure you want to...
We seem to be surrounded.
Huh? That guy commanded the enemies. Is that Niles?
Oh dear. Where there's Niles, there's Leo. We'll deal with the retainer first.
The mission's starting.
Lord Leo, forgive me.
A successful mission.
Never mind, Leo. You have an apology to make to me and Elise.
Niles has fallen. I warned him not to underestimate them. That settles it. Send our forces. Tell them to be careful.
The path opened. I spot enemy reinforcements.
More enemy troops are coming from the south.
The mission's starting. A successful mission.
That's enough punishment for now. Leo, compose yourself and let us explain.
I am perfectly composed, Camilla. Now will someone tell me what's going on?
First, please, did I go overboard?
Have my corn and have this in these
Good to ready. Sure you want to...
Xander's surrounded. We need to help take out those enemies.
The mission's starting. The fog. It's so thick. How will we find Xander in this?
We may be able to disperse it with a dragon veil. Let's find a fort with one.
The mission's starting.
Even at full force, you don't stand a chance.
The Norian army will collapse without Xander. We must save him at all costs.
I've got the latest.
Let me do my turn.
Let me do this.
A successful mission. We need to turn the tide. Poison fog? Who would do such a thing? I've got the latest.
There's a caster we must eliminate. He'll have positioned himself outside the fog.
The mission's starting. A successful mission. Nice work.
Is that it? What a paltry excuse for a mage.
My turn. Let me do it. I like those results. I've got the latest.
I sense a dragon vein nearby. If we can take the fort, we can clear the fog.
Ready.
I'll take the lead.
My turn now. I like those results.
Xander! We were so worried about you.
Elise and the others. Let's celebrate later. First, we must get out of this fog.
I like those results.
Camilla, Leo, and Elise are here to back us up. Now, let's crush the Hoshidan army.
The Norian troops are fighting fierce. Send in more troops at once.
I spot enemy reinforcements.
Enemy reinforcements, eh? We must rout them before we lose our forts.
We'll take care of them quickly with all of us here.
The mission's starting. Ready.
I'll stop you! All of our forts have fallen? Order a retreat at once!
You're the ones who helped my family. Who are you?
Let me handle the introductions. We have lots of stuff to talk about.
I off.
First, please. Did I go overboard?
We've become pretty good friends. Stop, please. She's... What?
I'm not.
Hey, we have...
Yeah.
Agree.
If.
Good to... Ready.
Sure you want to skip?
We can't lose Ryoma or Xander. Let's hurry to the bases.
It'd be dangerous to go straight to them. We should capture the forts first. Right. The more forts we take, the more we keep this battle under control.
The mission's starting.
We should split up. We'll lose if we focus everything on just one army.
Now's our chance to take the bases and make everyone stop fighting.
The mission's starting.
We seize the fort.
A successful mission.
We've diminished both forces. Stay strong.
We're being attacked by Norians too? Recapture the fort at once!
I spot enemy reinforcements.
The mission's starting.
Our fort has fallen to the Hoshidans? Take it back, now!
I spot enemy reinforcements.
The mission's starting.
Are the enemies behind us even Norians? It doesn't matter. Take them out!
I spot enemy reinforcements. The path opened.
Who is attacking us from behind? Launch an attack!
My team. I spot enemy reinforcements. The path opened. We seize the fort.
I cannot go on. The base has fallen. I've never seen such strength.
We need to move.
We have to take the two main bases to get through to Ryoma and Xander.
We need to move. We seize the fort.
A successful mission.
Impossible! The Norian army can't fight any longer.
Maybe now they'll listen to us about stopping this fighting. Wait, where'd Xander go?
Daily training yields success.
My soul feels dull. There's only... Oh, and
What? Why are they...
good to ready.
They're too formidable for us right now. We should secure the forts and escape.
The mission's starting. Sure you want to... I spot enemy reinforcements.
Wait a second. Now Corrin's attacking us too?
Oh my, confounded by such a simple spell. You're all bark and no bite,
I spot enemy reinforcements.
Iago, so this was your work. You'll pay dearly for this, you disgrace.
The mission's starting. Change in plans. The path opened. A successful mission. We seize the fort.
All right, we've opened one escape route. Quickly, to the next fort!
The mission's starting. A successful mission. We seize the fort.
Oh, that hurt. Suppose it's my cue to exit stage left.
I like those results.
Come back here. You can't just run.
Oh, I'm not running. It's called a tactical retreat, you fool. Look it up. Fools! Did you really think I'd simply reveal myself?
I spot enemy reinforcements. They've started a long-range attack.
Whoa! Where'd the lightning come from?
There was a sage anticipating our moves and calling down lightning there.
The mission's starting. I spot enemy reinforcements. The path opened. Something's in our way.
Wall of darkness should dissipate, find and destroy its caster.
The mission's starting. We seize the fort. Let me do it. We seize the fort.
Who are you? Why is everyone from Nor and Hoshido together?
We've got to change tactics. I've got the latest.
This was expected. Soldiers, go on and finish them.
I spot enemy reinforcements. The mission's starting. A successful mission. Let's pass while we can.
They've broken through. Well, I've been waiting for some drama.
Come out and fight, you coward. I'll kill you myself.
I'll show you what miserable end awaits those who hurt my dearest Corrin.
Please, you must listen. I was merely following orders.
You caused us to harm our friends and siblings. There will be no mercy for you.
Stop with your lies. Your time has come.
A successful mission.
Is that all you have to offer? Scary words? Ooh, I'm trembling.
Sure you want to skip?
First, please. Did I go overboard?
Dario, take a look. Hold on. How?
Taku.
When I'm good. We should.
I was thinking. Help.
We that.
Good to ready.
In order to gain entry, we'll need to lower a drawbridge. The mechanism to do that is probably in one of the forts nearby. Which one?
The mission's starting.
Out of the way.
I'll take the lead. I've got my eye on you, Darius. Let's see if you can be trusted.
I'll get us through this. I'll have to survive too.
I've got the latest. We see it's the fort. That turret's gonna come in handy. A successful mission.
A fort! Never mind that. Aim for their leader instead. Move out!
The path opens. Only one fort left. That must be one of the fights to lower the drawbridges. Darius can lower the drawbridge. Give him cover. The mission's starting. I've got the latest.
I've got an idea.
I've got the latest.
Calling in reinforcements. Quickly! We can't let that happen.
The mission's starting. I've got the latest. We see it's the fort. I like those results. I like those results.
I've activated the mechanism. The drawbridges are opening. Attack!
Let's pass what we can. A successful mission.
All the drawbridges are down. We still have walls to contend with.
So we're still stuck? What should we do, Darius?
Follow the wall to the north or south and look for a gate. We'll enter there.
The mission's starting. We see it's the fort. That turret's gonna come in handy. A successful mission.
All right. We blocked the reinforcements.
I'll take it.
Let's press forward and attack.
I like those results.
Tremble before the power of my magic.
I spot enemy reinforcements.
My life fails. Relax. We must take out that caster at once.
The mission's starting. There are more enemy forts around. Let's take them and lower their morale. The mission's starting. Ready. The path opened.
The enemy base is open. Let's go, Darius.
I am with you. But don't let your guard down. There are still a lot of enemies. Excellent. Now we can get inside.
The path opened. I spot enemy reinforcements. Sure you want to skip?
Only hero?
Sure you want to skip?
Daily training yields success.
So, this is...
Let's... You're right. is our enemy in my world, and that has not changed here.
The mission's starting. I've got the latest.
Only people who can fly can get to the other side.
Let me do it.
If only we had a bridge, we could all get across.
Ready. I've got the latest.
We found a dragon vein. Now we just need to activate it.
This tree is bigger than expected.
Ready. I spot enemy reinforcements. United. They started a long-range attack.
Let's test it. Take out those castles to stop that magic.
The mission's starting. A successful mission.
Out of the way.
I like those results.
You thought you won. That was a mere shadow.
A shadow? Garneth, show yourself!
Ready. We seize the fort. I spot enemy reinforcements.
So many Garneths. Are these all shadows? The real one is here somewhere. But how can we tell them apart?
Search all you want. You'll never find me. Over here.
The mission's starting.
Every shadow is an equal threat. We must find and defeat the true Garneth quickly.
A successful mission.
Blast it all. Very well. I shall bring this chapter to a close myself.
Garneth has escaped. We cannot let our guard down as long as he's free.
The ice is clear. Now we can reach the top.
So we can get our hands on a new power. Let's go, everyone!
Sure you want to skip?
First, please. Did I go overboard?
These...
Of course. It's...
Hope. God, we can...
Good to... Ready.
Where would they be keeping Darius? We gotta find him!
Stop. Think. We've attacked this place before. The enemy will be on alert.
She's right. First, we must take the outer forts to gain a foothold for our attack. To escape!
Ready. We seize the fort. We seize the fort. We do.
Out of the way.
We seize the fort. Take the lead. Take the forward defense.
We've taken the outer fort. Now we must attack the interior.
This can't be. Archers, move out and prepare for the enemy.
If we take out the central fort, we should be able to go deeper.
The mission's starting. But the front gate is fortified. Using the north or south gates is our best bet. Ready.
Let me handle
A successful mission.
We're not gonna lose this time. Darius, please be alright.
The path opened. The gate leading deeper inside is open. We must brace ourselves for trouble.
You!
Answer me!
I saw someone bring him toward the back. There's no way he's still alive. Out of the way.
I know he's alive. Hurry to the back fort.
The mission's starting.
There's a fork in the path. You two must decide which way we go.
Ready.
Attack the enemy's rear! Make them scatter!
We should have been more cautious.
They're coming from the rear. Take them out before they can flank us.
The mission's starting. We see it's the fort.
The fort is ours. Let's hope this victory won't be our last. That's the spirit. I'm sure we can save Darius.
We see it's the fort. We see it's the fort. A successful mission.
Tell us, where is Darius? Answer me!
North! There's a jail on the north side. He's probably there.
Then he's close. Everyone, move out!
Sure you want to see? I like those results.
Hurt you all so. The Shield of Flames is in the northern banquet hall. There will be monsters guarding it. This will be no ordinary fight.
Fine, as long as we fight together. Let's go get that shield!
The mission's starting. A successful mission. Sure you want to skip? Sure you want to skip?
First, please. Did I go overboard?
So that...
I've... Nile...
Oh!
Oh.
We've...
You're right. We're not...
Yes!
It will all we... It's a dip. Royal... It's the...
We're going. Good to ready.
I've got the latest.
Wall of dark magic. We need to find another way inside the castle.
Let's split up. One group will take the north, the other takes the south.
Wait now. We have to stop the caster making this wall. He can't be far from here.
The mission's starting. We're being targeted.
Fort's turrets are taking aim. It's bad news if you don't take them over.
I've got the latest.
Let me handle this.
There's another caster on the other side. We've got to get to him right away.
I've got the latest. The path opened. We seized the fort.
We've taken a fort with turrets. Remember where?
That turret's gonna come in handy. Let me handle this. Let's pass what we can. A successful mission.
Okay, we can move forward. Let's go, everyone.
Ready.
You are all mere playthings until the ceremony is complete. Try to stop me.
The mission's starting. We need to turn the tide.
What is this? We have to stop the statue.
They must be controlled remotely. Let's check the fort.
Sure you want to skip?
Daily training yields success.
I'm pleased we've been able to get to know each other better. Sure you want to skip?
Derek, he was in.
Get it?
He's
Remember? Yes.
There. Come on. Are you? Look, you.
Good. Ready.
We should have been more cautious. The mission started.
The darkness courses through my body. My very blood is alight with dark fire.
Such strength. Where is the power coming from?
I don't know, but we need to find out.
Let me do it.
I've got the latest.
The power flows. Darkness will consume everything.
Killed his own father. And for what?
Darius, why? Why are you doing this?
Darius, let me listen to us. Darius!
I like those results. Nice work. I like those results. Nice work.
You cannot so much as lay a scratch on it.
I like those results. Nice work.
Don't lose focus. If you are going to act swiftly.
Darius! Is it really you?
Yes. I cannot control my body. Wait. No. A portal is opening.
We spot enemy reinforcements.
So much wasted effort. How have such fools made it this far?
Nice work.
This is our only chance to save him.
We need to move.
Destiny is set. No matter how you struggle, you are too late.
We should have been more cautious.
There has to be something we can do to free Darius from this.
I've got the latest.
Ready.
Sure you want to skip?
Daily training yields success.
Sure you want to skip?
The
What a
This. No,
we want that.
but
Indeed.
good. Ready. Outgrown fiends are all over town. The outgrown portals must have been opened. The town will be destroyed if we don't help. We need to close those portals.
Out of the way.
I'm not surprised that the Outrun portals are under such heavy guard.
We can close the portals if we defeat those enemies in the way.
The mission started.
We need to protect our home. Fight back the fiends and reclaim the forts.
We won't lose. For your sake, Darius. Let's go.
Nice work. Nice work. Monsters! Someone help! I've got the latest.
That woman is being attacked. Quickly, you must help her.
The mission started. Let's pass what we can.
The building is mending itself. Oh, goodness.
If we encounter any more obstacles, let's use dragon veins to clear them.
Let's pass what we can. Nice work. A successful mission. Let's pass what we can.
No! A tower is falling. It's blocking that fort.
We may be able to fix it with a dragon vein, but it could be too big.
One dragon vein won't do it, but all of them at once just might.
The mission started. Let's pass what we can.
My turn now.
Let's pass what we can.
The tower's fixed? Thank goodness.
A successful mission. Spot enemy reinforcements.
Wait, more portals? Focus on closing them.
Watch out. These are much stronger than the rest.
Let me do. If we don't close them soon, the town will be overrun.
The mission started. Nice work.
My turn now.
Let me do it.
Out of the way.
Nice work.
The tower's been repaired. Now we can access that fort.
The mission started.
We closed another portal. That should cut off the fiends.
A successful mission.
This time we closed all the portals for sure.
We defeated them all. The portal should stay closed now.
A successful mission.
I'm so glad to see this town back in its normal state. Lady Elena is this way. You two can have a peaceful chat with her now.
Sure you want to skip?
Daily training yields success.
We've got
You're
no, but we no, never after
Let's
he wa- Good to ready. I've got the latest.
the sheer size of the enemy forces. The Chaos Dragon isn't making this easy.
Neither shall we. Everyone, ready yourselves for battle.
I've got the latest.
The branches are blocking our path. We can't get by.
Perhaps we can clear the way using the dragon vein.
Yeah, great idea, Robin. Let's take a fort that has a dragon.
The mission started.
Now,
Let me handle this.
A successful mission. Let's pass what we can. The branches disappeared. Now we can get through.
Let's press on. We don't have time to drag our feet here.
We can't get through without the fort. Let's take it and open the gate.
The mission started. A successful mission.
Okay, the path is clear. Everyone move forward.
All that remains is to secure the final fort. If only it weren't so dark.
The mages casting that wall of darkness must be around here somewhere.
Let's hunt them down, take them out, and get rid of that wall.
The mission started. We should have been more cautious. The enemies. They're changing shape. It's us! They look like us!
What? Your enemies disguised as our friends are guarding the forts?
The mission started. The imposters are practiced in their original fighting styles. Be careful!
My turn now.
Out of the way. I didn't expect it to be so hard to take up arms against such familiar faces.
The path opens. Though they resemble us closely, their strength pales in comparison to ours. The path opened. So long as we follow our hearts, we will not be fooled by those imposters. My turn now. The path opened.
Remember, they're just imposters. Stay on your guard and focus on the mage.
A successful mission.
That's that. All the imposters are dead.
Now all that's left is to show those mages the true meaning of pain.
They've started a long-range attack.
We've got to stop that lightning magic right away.
That magic. We need to put a stop to it before it causes too much damage.
The mission started. A successful mission. Let's pass while we can.
That should be the last of the mages.
Out of the way.
We did it! The wall of darkness has disappeared!
We should have been more cautious.
What? Another me? What's going on?
Sis has an imposter? One of her is more than enough.
We've kept them at bay. Ready. The mission started. A successful mission. Let's pass while we can.
We've made it this far. The Chaos Dragon should be just ahead.
We made a promise to Darius. We have to defeat the Chaos Dragon.
Sure you want to skip?
Daily training yields success.
What? It is.
There's
It's going. With elite.
We're prepared.
What is it? What is it?
Of course. Good to ready.
I've got the latest.
Look! The Chaos Dragon!
around us.
Let me out of this.
What if we use the dragon veins in the forks to clear a path?
Let's take control of the forts, and from there we'll get the Chaos Dragon.
The mission's starting. We need to turn the tide.
The Chaos Dragon is growing stronger. My turn now.
Feel the power of darkness itself. We must stem the flow immediately.
It feels just like the darkness Darius fell victim to at Atola's castle.
If that's true, his wounds will be healed. We cannot allow this to continue.
The mission's starting.
Who sees the fort? I like those results.
Just as I thought, the power flowing into the Chaos Dragon has diminished.
Ready. I like those results. I like those results. I like those results. Let's pass while we can. A successful mission. My way.
It appears our path has been cleared.
Sure you want to...
We won't lose to the likes of you. We'll show you the power of our bonds.
Let's go, everyone! It's time to defeat the Chaos Dragon and put an end to this!
The mission's starting.
Last, the final battle awaits.
Watch closely.
Sure you want to skip?
Is it over?
Oh yeah! We won! Thank you! Without your strength, we never could have pulled this off!
The Chaos Dragon is destroyed, and it's thanks to everyone.
We were able to look beyond all that which divides us and work together. I'm so glad that we could do it.
The time has come for us to return to our worlds. You no longer need the help of a ragtag band of heroes, do you now?
Now that your struggle is over, so too must ours be put to rest. Both for Nor and Hoshido. Our future is a shared one.
I feel we've been here forever, but it hasn't been that long at all. The bonds we created, will they endure?
Yes. Ours are friendships that will never falter. Far-flung though we may be, we shall not forget them.
We return to our world, it's true. But I'm sure we'll meet again. For the future of all our worlds. Let's make it happen.
We support each other, now and always. But it's important that you support each other as well. Believe in each other. When times are at their worst and nothing can split your kingdom asunder.
Listen to me. No matter what kind of troubles await you down the road, remember that you are never alone. You can overcome anything. Time to go.
I guess it's all over, isn't it?
No. Now's when it all gets started. From here on out, We'll use our abilities to protect Aetolis, no matter what.
Yes. And starting now, we won't run away from our duty. No matter what happens, I know we'll see it through. Let's go home.
Yeah. Back home to the castle.
you're having fun, because I certainly am.
Fire Emblem Warriors.